Hello and welcome back to the Retro Racing Managers League. My name is Topher Smith and today we are at the penultimate round of the 1991 RRML World Championship. The Suzuka circuit awaits the drivers today and we might well have championships decided at this event. Let's take a quick look at the championship standings heading into this one. 6 drivers still in mathematical contention to win this championship, although of course some more realistic than others. Nigel Mansell for Ferrari, top of the table on 95 points, 7 ahead of Alessandro Nannini in the Burger King McLaren, 88 for the Italian driver, ahead of Ayrton Senna in the Porsche Williams, 86 points for the Brazilian, and then Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari on 84, Gerhard Berger in the McLaren also on 84, and still mathematically in contention, but the least realistic of the lots, Michele Alboreto in the Castrol Lotus Renault, 67 points for the Italian, but he's going to need a miracle if he is going to win the championship this time around. And as for the teams still in contention, only 3 of them, and it is the famous trio of Ferrari, McLaren and Williams. They are the teams fighting for top honours in this 1991 season. Ferrari currently on top on 179, McLaren on 172 and Williams on 157. Which of those 3 is going to walk away with the title at the end of the Australian round next time out. But for now, let's focus on the 1991 Japanese Grand Prix. And as always, we're starting off with pre-qualifying, where the top 3 teams across the line will qualify for the main Grand Prix later on. Before we get this one underway, let's take a quick look at the grid. And it is Jean Alesi in the AGS on pole, 138.243 for the Frenchman, just over a tenth ahead of Adrian Fernandez in the Eurobrun, second on the grid. Eddie Cheever in the other Eurobrun, third, giving them a good chance of qualifying today, ahead of Eric Bernard in the Martini Modena Lambo. Paul Tracy in the other Modena alongside him in fifth, ahead of Tommy Byrne in the Zaxpeed. Perry McCarthy in the second AGS, seventh on the grid, ahead of Andy Wallace in the Jordan. Roberto Romano, ninth in the Coloni, and Damon Hill in the Virgin Atlantic Renault rounds out the top 10. Aguri Suzuki at his home race will be 11th on the grid. He'll be looking to move forward and qualify for his home race today. Otto Rensing in the Jordan, 12th ahead of Andrea De Cesaris in the Coloni. Roland Ratzenberger in the Fonmetal. Alex Zanardi in the Monteverde. Joachim Winkelhock in the Zaxpeed. And then Eric Comas, Martin Donnelly, Naoki Hattori and Gilles de Ferran in the Scuderia Italia Dallara rounding out the top 20. And at the back of the grid, Ivan Capelli, Nicola Larini, Jean-Marc Gounon, Pierluigi Martini, and then the 2 IKEA Real Ilmors of Alan McNish and Kathy Muller rounding out the grid. So which 3 teams are going to progress through to the main Grand Prix later on today? There's only one way to find out. Let's get straight down to the track where Tom Cairns is ready and waiting to call this one. So Tom, who is going to qualify today?
Here we go then for the penultimate round of the Grand Prix 2 World Championship here at Suzuka of 1991. Jean Alesi on pole position ahead of Adrian Fernandez and Eddie Cheever. We'll just wait for the 5 red lights to go out here at Suzuka, and it's go at Suzuka. And a brilliant getaway from both Fernandez and Cheever, leapfrogging ahead of Alesi before they get to turn number 1. So great start for them. We've got Joachim Finkelhock coming through further in the background as they all go through turns 1 and 2 together. So it's Cheever who leads, it's Fernandez in second place, it's Eric Bernard in third place, with Jean Alesi fourth, and it will be Paul Tracy in 5th position as they continue to navigate their way through the S's. So it's a superstar all round, and there we see Eddie Cheever, part of the Eurobrun team run by Giacomo Pagliaro. It's a Eurobrun 1 and 2 so far. Sean Alesi, who's running in 3rd place, or 4th rather now. He's racing for the AGS squad with Mike Pittman at the helm. Alesi's teammate in the field is Perry McCarthy, who's running in 9th place. So in the Grand Prix World Championship of 1991, as far as pre-qualifying works, the top 3 cars that finish will go automatically through into the main race later on. And we ride on board with Tommy Byrne, who is overtaking Damon Hill, heading into 130R. And that's the move completed for Byrne going past. And the next driver he'll be chasing after is Paul Tracy. Tommy Byrne racing for Sax Speed. Damon Hill, who's part of the Renault squad. Damon Hill's teammate in the field is John Margunon, and Naoki Hattori has broken his front wing through the grass, and his race, his home event, gets off to a really poor beginning here. Eric Comas came into the pits in the Minardi, but Naoki Hattori, who's had a rocky season in the Honda, will have to make his way back into the pit lane for a front wing replacement. Right, Snardy running a little deep there. Alex Sinardi, who is part of the Monteverde squad. David Yunt at the helm. Sinardi's teammate in the field is Ivan Capelli, who is outside the top 15 as we speak. It's Chiba who continues to pull away as we ride on board with Kathy Muller. And Kathy Muller, who is competing for the... just going through the drivers and teams. At this stage here, there have been a lot of driver changes over the course of the campaign. Kathy Muller continuing on her way so far. And off goes Damon Hill in the gravel trap at turn 1. And he's touched the barrier, and the Renault is going to have with it all to do from here on in. Damon Hill's going to have to hope for his Renault teammate Sean Margunon to get something out of this and get them into the main race later. Sorry, back in the pit lane. Damon Hill will be in the pits later on too. And Alan McNish is out of the race in the Real, and he's off at turn 1 with some form of mechanical issue. So the Scot is the first retirement of this pre-qualifying race. We're on lap 3 out of 27. Damon Hill in the gravel trap, reversing back out. And Sean Margunon in the other Renault is running in 19th place, didn't have the best of qualifying sessions. At the back of the front we see Eric Bernard, the young Frenchman, heating in the Modena. The main race numerous times this season as Eric Bernard. He's finished in the points twice as well. And off goes Gilles de Ferran. Gilles de Ferran in the Delara spinning around. That's over at the Casio Triangle chicane. He's done well to get back out of there without any harm. Bernard in second place ahead of Shona Lacey. Adrian Fernandez in 4th position. In the orange liveried just going through the drivers and seats, there's so many. It's the orange livery Eurobron as they come out of Degna 2. To achieve a lead in ahead of Bernard and Fernandez, as Alesi's dropped down to 5th place, and I wonder what's happened to Alesi's. Been very, very slow on this lap. Damon Hill making it back to the pits. But it looks like Sean Alesi, as far as this race is concerned, is going to come short, and Perry McCarthy is off the circuit. Out of the race goes Perry McCarthy. I don't know if he had some form of issue, but his pre-qualifying race has come to an end. So that's one of the AGSs out. Alesi is also running into issues of his own. Moreno getting through on Aguri Suzuki in the Coloni. And Chiva's off! Chiva off into the gravel trap. And there goes the lead in the Eurobron. Eric Bernal leads ahead of Adrian Fernandez. Paul Tracy now third. And Chiva made an unforced error as Alesi gets back to the pits with his electrical issue. And Chiva, well, he'll be ruining that later on. It's not long to go in the Grand Prix World Championship this season. We'll be heading to Adelaide for the season finale. We are likely to crown a new world champion. It was Mika Häkkinen last season, winning it in his maiden season. Main race to come later as Chiva gets back on the circuit, but he's well down the order. We're on lap 5 out of 27. It's Eric Bernal leading, Adrian Fernandez second. It's Paul Tracy who's dropped to 4th place behind Tommy Byrne, who's got through. I want to see what's happening to Paul Tracy because I didn't expect Tommy Byrne to get through at this part of the course. There we see Adrian Fernandez running in P2. Ratzenberger is about to be overtaken here by Joachim Winkelhock. Naoki Hattori is well down the order after needing to pit in for a new nose section. An overtake also from Andy Wallace on Otto Rensing. Now, they've swapped places, those two who are part of the Jordan team. Run by Topher Smith, and Suarez goes for a spin right in front of the pack. Now, did they all get through safely? In such a dangerous place on the circuit, Paul Tracy. Oh, there are cars off. Kathy Muller's off. Eddie Cheever is off. Jean-Marc Gounon's off the circuit, as is Martin Donnelly. Now, is Kathy Muller able to get back on the track? Well, the Chesuez gets going. And Kathy Muller doing her best to get back on the track as well. She is back on the track. So we ride on board with Roland Ratzenberger through Degner 2. Paul Tracy, after the pit stop he's had to make, has come back out in 15th position behind Gilles de Ferran. A lot of drama already, and we're only on lap 6. As it stands, it'll be Modena, Eurobrunt, and Zaxby going through into the main race, and Otto Rensing is the latest to hit mechanical trouble. He's got an electrical issue, and that'll be him off into the pit lane. And off goes Suzuki as well, in avoidance of the Jordan. We're about to see here, he might be already ahead of the Jordan before 130R. Now he does go in front of him, but he completely misjudges 130R and broke his front wing and spinning right in front of the pack. Now does the home hero get back on the track? Renson comes into the pits. Suzuki's doing his best to get back on the track. He's having to wait for the field to go by. Suzuki. He's still having to wait for the field to go by as we look at Joachim Winkelhock. He's holding up Alex Zanardi through the S as they come. And behind Zanardi is Ivan Capelli. It's Martin Donnelly comes into the pits for a new nose section at this stage of the race. Sonardi's teammate is Ivan Capelli in the Monteverdi. Now we see Paul Tracy back up to 13th position. Suzuki makes it back to the pits. And now we look at Sonardi again. This time with Joachim Winkelhock. He's fending off the Monteverdi. 10th place behind Ivan Capelli is the Dallara of Nicola Larini. Fingerhock holds on for now. Fernandez getting the gap down on Bernard to 1.5 seconds. And it's the end of the road for Naoki Hattori with an engine problem. And I think he's only the 3rd driver to retire from this race. Is Hattori in the Honda. So it's been a miserable race so far for the Japanese team of Honda. And Eric Bernard has been off the circuit somewhere and he's out. Bernard's retired in the Modena. A body blow to the team who are going for another place in the main race later. They've still got Paul Tracy in this, who's in 12th, or go up into 11th now. But Tracy's got a bit all to do if he wants to get both him and his teammate through into the Grand Prix later. Now we have a new race leader of Adrian Fernandez ahead of Tommy Byrne as we watch Damon Hill ride over the curbs at 130R and survive him. This is the 8th lap that they're on, the leaders. Hill is ahead of Suzuki, who's just pitted. And now we look at Tommy Byrne. As it stands, it'll be Eurobrun, Zach Speed and Jordan going through to the Grand Prix. An overtake also from Paul Tracy on Pierluigi Martini at 130R. Brett coming back through the field very, very nicely. And Eddie Cheever, after his earlier off, is back up in 14th. As Tracy goes off again. And there goes Modena's hopes of competing in the Grand Prix later. To be careful, it doesn't damage the car here. Paul Tracy. And spinning the car back round. It's going to be a long pre-qualifying race from here. Tommy Byrne continuing on in 2nd place in the Zach Speed. So far this season, Zach Speed have been able to, well, have yet to qualify for a Grand Prix this season. So they could be the day to change just that. There's Fernandez. Continuing on. Now Eurobrun, who have qualified for the Grand Prix on 8 occasions this season. Adrian Fernandez, who has been across the whole season actually, has Fernandez. Looking at Eurobrun's lineup throughout the season, Adrian Fernandez didn't join them until round 9. Final ball with Ivan Capelli in the Monteverdi. Coming through Dent 2. Four drivers out of the race so far. We lost Eric Bernard. We also lost Naoki Hattori. We also lost Perry McCarthy. And we lost Alan McNish. Coming towards the round of pit stops to see who's going to come in sooner than others. Fernandez doesn't need to rush. And when he's going to be pitting in, Roberto Moreno, who is running up there in 4th place in the Coloni. Alex Sinardi pits in the Monteverdi at the end of lap 10. Eddie Cheever pitting in on that same lap. And we see the list of retirements so far: Bernard, Hattori, McCarthy and McNish. Eddie Cheever will come back out ahead of Eric Comas, or just behind him actually. There is the Jordan of Andy Wallace going after Tommy Byrne for 2nd place, but Jordan is still looking good to qualify for the Grand Prix later. Jordan have been in the main race on a total of 6 or 7 occasions this season, including when they fielded only one car last time out at the Nürburgring because of something that happened in the pre-qualifying race that prevented the other Jordan driver competing, or one of the Hondas. Andrew Fernandez continuing to lead. It's Tommy Byrne 2nd, it's Andy Wallace in 3rd place. Roberto Moreno, Roland Ratzenberger, Jürgen Finkelhoff, Ivan Capelli, Nicola Larini, Pierluigi Martini and Gilles de Ferran on the top 10. Sean Lacey's in P11. We see Roberto Moreno, who made his first Grand Prix start at this circuit in 1987 when he was an AGS driver. In his 2nd start at the following round in Adelaide, he scored his AGS's 1st point. Right on board with Adrian Fernandez down the back straight before 130R. And Pierluigi Martini's car is on fire. It's been a miserable season for Minardi. They've yet to qualify for a Grand Prix this season, and they're not going to be qualifying for this one either. Eric Comas in the other Minardi still going in 15th. Damon Hill in the Renault. He's now in 20th position. And off goes Moreno in the Coloni. He caught the grass on entry, and it's taken him off the racetrack. He's having to wait for the likes of Gilles de Ferran and Sean Lacey to go through. And Suzuki's off again in the Honda. Another miserable pre-qualifying race for the Japanese, as he tries to get back on the circuit, having to wait for Andy Wallace to go through. Kathy Muller's come into the pits. Fernandez leads. It's Byrne, Wallace, Ratzenberger, Finkelhock, Capelli, Lorini, De Ferran, Alesi and Renson. Now remember that Otto Renson was another one of those. He had to come in for electrical, to sort out some electrical issues. And there we see Adrian Fernandez, who is now behind the Real, which won't help. Andy Wallace comes in from P3. Now the Real ahead of Adrian Fernandez there. See Fernandez getting held up, which will not please him one bit. Has to be Rickard Rydell. Or Kathy Muller, sorry. It's Kathy Muller who's in the car in place of Rydell this time around. And there goes Fernandez on Muller to lap, but he lost too much time being stuck behind. Wallace's stop left him in 7th place ahead of Sean Alesi. Right on board with the Tom Cairns of Roland Ratzenberger. And we'll see Jules de Ferran is in 17th place as he came into the pit lane. Tommy Byrne in P2 coming in for his stop. Won't get out in front of Ratzenberger unless Ratzenberger decides to pit in himself. He remains out there, does the Austrian. Eddie Cheever attempting to get by Eric Comas before Spoo. Byrne has come out behind Ratzenberger, but he is in front of Winkelhock. Attempting an undercut on Adrian Fernandez. Right on board with Byrne, the Irishman in the sack speed. His teammate Joachim Winkelhock is directly behind him. And we look at Paul Tracy. He's had a couple of offs already in this one. There's no way Modena are going to be in the Grand Prix later. Ahead of Tracy is Alex Zanardi, and Ratzenberger slows. That's not good news for Von Mattel or for Ed Hunter. And it's a retirement from the pre-qualifying race for Ratzenberger. Martin Donnelly's still going, but he's at the back of the field in all of this. So they're not going to be in the Grand Prix later. It's a front suspension failure that's forced Ratzenberger to retire. That makes Tommy Byrne's life easier, as he's just been overtaken actually by Winkelhock for a moment, but it's because Winkelhock has come into the pit lane. His stop, Capelli likewise. There's Tracy, gets too wide on the curb on the grass. He was lucky not to sustain damage from that. Now the last corner onto the pit straight. We'll see Winkelhock come out of the pits behind him. Tommy Byrne is getting the hammer down, going after Adrian Fernandez for the lead. Will Fernandez have enough of a gap before he pits in? He'll be on fresher tyres compared to Byrne. So even if he does fall behind him, he will still have a tyre advantage. With all the clear space that Byrne has got, there is a chance he could well take the lead. It's 29.3 seconds in the first set, so it's now 29.1. Set to 2. Paul Tracy winning in P11, just ahead of Vinkerhock. And he's going to go through on Alex Zanardi. And Vinkerhock has slowed just after he's pitted. Out goes one of the Zach speeds. Now, does he get off safely here? And it's a rear puncher on the Zach speed. We've got plenty of pit stops going on as well. We've got Larini, we've got Gounon, we've got De Cesares coming in. We've also got Paul Tracy. It's the end of the road for Joachim Vinkerhock. Martin Donnelly also coming in the Von Mattel. It's the Mexican Adrian Fernandez still leading, but he's still yet to stop. And it's another retirement here. Aguri Suzuki is also out. And it's a suspension problem on the Honda. So that's both of the Hondas out of the race. Pulls to the side on the straight. And through goes Tommy Burns to lap him. Needs to get off the throttle slightly. Ten laps to go in this pre-qualifying race. As it stands, it'll be Eurobrun, Zach Speed and Jordan going through, but Byrne has had to come back into the pit lane with some form of electrical problem, I believe. So there goes Zach Speed's chance of competing in the Grand Prix later. That spells good news over at AGS, because Shauna Lacey's now up into third place. Roberto Moreno, who's in fourth in the Coloni, and Tommy Byrne, after that unscheduled stop, has dropped down to sixth. Andy Wallace up to second place in the Jordan. Fernandez, who hasn't stopped in this race yet, has a 34-second lead. Cheever, who attempts to get by Eric Comas at Techno 1, wasn't able to do so. And Tommy Byrne is on the rear of Alex Zanardi, further ahead. Looks like Byrne's going to go through on Zanardi. Get the move done before the corner easily. Does so at 130R. It's a change for position. And we'll see Cheever go through on Comas. That was an easier overtake for him than it was for Byrne on Zanardi. And coming into the pits, it is the Minardi of Eric Comas. Sean Lacey running in third now for AGS. Roberto Moreno's run about 6.5 seconds up the road from Tommy Byrne. Nicola Larini in the Dallara running in 8th. He's ahead of his teammate Gilles de Ferran, with Eddie Cheever running up the top 10 in the Eurobrun. And into the pits comes Fernandez. And he'll retain the lead when he comes back out. He'll be more than enough ahead over Wallace and the Lacey. Chesworth, he's got Paul Tracy for company. This is the battle for 13th position. Fernandez gets back out well ahead of Andy Wallace. Now Chivo going for it on de Ferran, with Renson following through at the same time. Oh, Renson's off though, and he very nearly took de Ferran with him. Well, the Dallara's coming into the pits, but that so nearly could end up being a wild accident involving the pair of them. Moreno comes in, as does de Ferran, and we're going to see a replay again of the Jordan going off circuit. He touched the barrier and it was lucky not to collect. Gilles de Ferran as he rejoined. Down the pit straight goes the Jordan. You see Fernandez is over 10 seconds clear of Andy Wallace, and he's untroubled. Only mechanical gremlins will stop Eurobrun from qualifying for the Grand Prix later. Tommy Byrne is now up into 4th place because of Moreno pitting. Still has a chance to get into the Grand Prix. He's got 17 seconds to make up on Sean Lacey in the final 8 laps of racing in this pre-qualifier. So he has to really take 2 seconds out of the Lacey's margin per lap. Continues to lead as we look at Kathy Muller, who's got Damon Hill behind her. Moreno's pit stop has left him in 10th place. The gap between Lacey and Byrne has come down to 16 seconds. We're in separate places around the circuit at the moment in terms of the sector, so it may not be as accurate. But Lacey's gone past the pit straight. Wait to see where Byrne is. He is around about 16 seconds off. Lacey in P3. So we look at Sinardi. He's ahead of his Monteverdi teammate Nicola Larini. Or, sorry, Ivan Capelli, I should say. Nicola Larini's in the Dallara. Eurobrun displaying its potential here again. Nicely done here from the Eurobrun of Adrian Fernandez. So he powers down the pit straight once more. There'll be another lap out, and it's a new fast up of the race with a 1:39.2. For the Mexican. The gap between Lacey and Byrne has come down to just over 15 seconds. I don't think Byrne's going to catch Lacey. Unless Lacey makes a mistake. Well, Byrne runs wide at 130R. race to come later, so stay tuned. Of course, with it being the penultimate round, it could decide the Drivers' Championship with Nigel Mansell leading by 7 points over Alessandro Nannini, the Senna, who's gone in for his second title. Further couple of points back. It's going to be a mesmerising Japanese Grand Prix later. See Damon Hill going past Kathy Muller in the Real. Is this nothing to go to the inside and through? It is. To go for the leader. Tommy Byrne is doing his best to keep his sack speed on the circuit. 18 drivers still left in this pre-qualifier. And we've got retirement for Adrian Fernandez has stopped. Gearbox failure. And Eurobron's hopes of competing in the Grand Prix later are over. Well, that's come as a shock. Andy Wallace takes the lead with 5 laps remaining. Sean Lacey is second in the AGS, and Tommy Byrne is back into 3rd place in the sack speed. Now Monteverde, who've competed in the Grand Prix earlier in the season, or have qualified for the Grand Prix numerous times. And they get into it again, well, I say numerous times, they've only been in once, and that was over at Spa. But they've also got a chance to get into it if something happens to either Wallace, Alesi or Byrne. It's Wallace who leads, Alesi, Byrne, Sanadi, Capelli, as Damon Hill slows through a halt, and his messy race is about to end on the sidelines. That's him gone. He's running in 6th place ahead of Eddie Cheever, who is a second behind, or less than that now actually. There's confirmation of Damon Hill's retirement. It was probably a gearbox problem or something like that. But Byrne can breathe a huge sigh of relief. Now he's back into P3. Eddie Cheever, 6/10 off Nicola Larini. Should be able to go through on Larini on the pit straight, and he is ahead of him now, up into 6th place. You get ahead of the 2 Monteverdis. He is within the fray of possibly still qualifying for the Grand Prix later. So it's not over yet for Eurobron. Andy Willis in the Jordan. Less than 5 seconds clear over Sean Lacey, and Gilles de Ferran is off the circuit in the Dallara. Not for the first time. He's doing his best to get back on. He's now behind Kathy Muller. To wait for the leader of Andy Willis to go through, and also Sean Lacey. really be attempting to get back on the track. Gilles de Ferran. To Sean Lacey. It's 14 seconds clear over third place Tommy Byrne. This one has not put a front wrong throughout this pre-qualifying race. Gilles de Ferran is still stuck in the gravel trap. It wouldn't be at all surprised if he ends up parking that one up, because it's been sat in the gravel for some time. He's still there, look. He's to Ferran. He's back on the circuit at last. He just wants to bring that car home in one piece. Sean Lacey, 4.5 seconds off the lead. Looking very, very good for AGS's hopes of getting into the Grand Prix. Eddie Cheever is on the tail of Ivan Capelli. Lacey begins the penultimate lap. You see Andy Wallace locking up through the S's. And up the hill he comes. Third place, 13 seconds ahead of Alex Zanardi. And Cheever not able to get through on Ivan Capelli that time around. Never know in the final laps of this pre-qualifier. One mistake or a mechanical failure could have disastrous consequences as Gilles de Ferran comes in. It's been a race to forget for him. Delara almost certainly not going to be heading through. Jean-Marc Gounon running in P11. Final lap for Andy Wallace. Jordan, not for the first time this season, are going to be heading into the Grand Prix. Scored points this season, as they were able to achieve at Monza. And Eric Comas is on fire in the Minardi. That's the second one out for Michael Gillespie. Eric Comas, Andy Wallace on his final lap. Just want to make sure he brings that car home without any errors. At least he did get the gap down to 3.7 seconds. And there's confirmation of Comas pulling out. It's been a super drive from Andy Wallace. And it's going to give the Jordan team another chance to get into the main race later. Down the back straight for the last time comes the Jordan. There's going to be celebrations for team manager Topher Smith. The pre-qualifying race here at Suzuka is about to be won here by Andy Wallace. Andy Wallace powers down the pit straight to win the pre-qualifying event here at Suzuka. Jordan go through to the Grand Prix along with Sean Lacey and AGS. They're through with both cars, and it's Tommy Byrne who recovers the third place, and Saxby take the final couple of spots for both of their cars. And we see Paul Tracy overtaking Nicola Larini on the final lap. But it's not going to be enough for Modena to get through, unfortunately. Larini's coming back on the inside, though. But to no avail. Eddie Cheever only managing 6th behind the two Monteverdis. It's Otto Renson who will join his teammate in the Grand Prix later. Andrea De Cesare slows down on the final lap in the Coloni. Martin Donnelly heads through into P12. And De Cesare's actually does make it back to the pit lane. So he might get over the line, you know. His teammate Roberto Moreno finished in 8th position. Paul Tracy only managed in 9th ahead of Nicola Larini and Jean-Marc Gounon ahead of Martin Donnelly. Cathy Muller getting ahead of Andrea De Cesare's right at the end. So it's Jordan, AGS and Zach Speed heading into the Grand Prix along with the big guns. But it's a win for Andy Wallace and it's Jordan who go through as the pre-qualifying race winners. John Lacey second, with Tommy Byrne in 3rd place. Jordan, AGS and Zach Speed advance into the main race. Alex Zanardi 4th ahead of his Monteverdi teammate Ivan Capelli. Eddie Cheever is 6th ahead of Otto Renson. Roberto Moreno 8th. Paul Tracy 9th and Nicola Larini in 10th place. Jean-Marc Gounon 11th, followed by Martin Donnelly. And it's Cathy Muller, the last driver on the lead. Andrea De Cesare's pitted in. Eric Comas retired with a couple of laps to go and Gilles de Vrane finished 2 laps down. Adrian Fernandez out from the lead. Eurobron go no further in this round. Damon Hill also retired along with Joachim Fingerhock, Aguri Suzuki, Roland Ratzenberger, Pierluigi Martini, Eric Bernard, Naoki Hattori, Perry McCarthy and Alan McNish were the drivers that did not finish that pre-qualifier. Jordan, AGS and Zach Speed go through. And some consolation for the Eurobron team, Adrian Fernandez posted the fast lap of the race by quite some margin over Eddie Cheever, who set the 2nd fastest time. Jordan, AGS and Zach Speed go through to the main race. Will they pick up any points later on? It all comes down to the Japanese Grand Prix. Will we see a new Drivers' Champion being crowned? Will it be Nigel Mansell today, or will it go down to the wire at Adelaide? We'll be back in a moment for the main race here at Suzuka. Topher, over to you.
So Andy Wallace in the Jordan takes the win in the pre-qualifying race, meaning that Jordan qualifies for the main Grand Prix and they will be joined by AGS and Zach Speed. Those 3 teams making it through pre-qualifying and they will line up on the grid for today's Grand Prix. And while the drivers are getting lined up on the grid, let's take you through the qualifying results and see who has qualified where on what could be a championship winning day. And at the front, Ayrton Senna once again has taken pole position this season. He's been the absolute benchmark for qualifying this season. And he has put it into pole position just ahead of Nigel Mansell, who could wrap up the title today should results go his way. Those two, the class of the field in qualifying, as 3rd place Thierry Boutsen almost half a second behind. Michael Schumacher, another of our title contenders, 4th in the 2nd Ferrari, ahead of Rubens Barrichello and Heinz Hal Frentzen, the 2 Red Bull Tyrrells together on row 3. Gerhard Berger, 7th in a McLaren ahead of Michele Alboreto, Alessandro Nannini and Gianni Morbidelli rounding out the top 10 in the Mastercar Lola. 11th place goes the way for Eddie Irvine in the Ligier ahead of our reigning champion Mika Hakkinen. He will not be taking the title again this season, so he can enjoy the last couple of rounds with the number 1 on his car. Martin Brundle, 13th in the Benetton ahead of Paul Warwick in the Lotus. Stefano Modena lines up 15th ahead of Mika Salo in the Ligier. Ari Leindijk, 17th ahead of John Alesi, one of our pre-qualifiers. And then Mark Blundell and Jonathan Palmer rounding out the top 20. And at the back, Perry McCarthy, Manuel Reuter, Andy Wallace, Otto Rensing, and then the 2 Zach Speeds of Tommy Byrne and Joachim Winkelhock, the last of our pre-qualifiers today. So will the title be decided today? Nigel Mansell can clinch it today if results go his way. But there's only one way to find out, and that's by getting this race started. So let's head straight back to Tom Cairns in the commentary box, ready and waiting to get this one underway. Tom, take it away.
At Senna on pole yet again, but Mansell is alongside. He could be the man that clinches his first Grand Prix World Championship title. But who can stop him? We'll wait for the lights to go out here and we'll go racing here at Suzuka. Lights on, lights off, it's go at Suzuka. A brilliant getaway from the McLaren of Gerhard Berger, who's blasted up into 5th place before they get into turn 1. It's Senna who leads out in front ahead of Nigel Mansell and Michael Schumacher. And it's Thierry Boussin in 4th place with Michele Alboreto getting in front of Gerhard Berger by the time they come out of turn number 1 and 2, and through the S's they go. So it's Senna leads, it's Mansell, Schumacher, Boussin, Alboreto, Berger, Heinz Frentzen is in 7th place with Rubens Barrichello, Eddie Irvine and Mika Hakkinen running out the top 10. And Ayrton Senna in the Williams, up the hill he comes. Can he take the championship down to Adelaide? It's Nigel Mansell who could be crowned champion. He came into this 7 points clear before Senna put it on pole, so he's down to 6 points between the Ferrari and the Williams. Well, I say that Alessandro Nannini is the driver in 2nd place, so it's actually still 7 points, but Senna, who is in 3rd, has got the gap down between him and Mansell to 8 points. In order for Mansell to clinch the championship here, he would need to be at least 18 points clear of everyone else. A win could seal it. It just depends on where other drivers finish. It's not just Nannini and Senna that are in the mix. You've got Michael Schumacher and Gerhard Berger also in there. And Berger, who is stuck behind the Lotus of Michele Alboreto, coming into the Casio Triangle chicane. And Alboreto remains in front for the time being. Over the line they come. It's Senna who leads. It's the 2 Ferraris of Mansell and Schumacher in 2nd and 3rd. Thierry Boussin in 4th. Michele Alboreto in the Lotus is in 5th. Now Alboreto, who's already taken victory on 2 occasions this season. He won the French Grand Prix. And he also won the British Grand Prix. Most recently in Estoril. I think someone came into the pits at the end of lap 1. We didn't quite pick up on who that was. It's at the back of the field anyway. There we see Berger not able to get through on Alboreto that time around. He has to be patient at this point. Does the McLaren. It's not just the driver's title that's up for grabs, there's also the constructor's title. Ferrari lead McLaren by 7 points. With Williams waiting in the wings, they are a further 15 points adrift of 2nd place McLaren. And there is the Tyrrell of Rubens Barrichello behind his teammate Heinz Frentzen coming through the spoon curve. And down the back straight they come before 130R. And Tommy Byrne, who is one of the drivers advancing from the pre-qualifying race, has got the Jordan. I think that is Otto Rensen behind. Stefano Modena in the Lola has gone through on Mika Salo for position. So fast up the race from Ayrton Senna. It's likely, in my opinion, that he'll come away with the fast lap of the race, which will be another championship point coming in the way of the 1988 world champion. See Arie Luyendyk in the arrows off the circuit at turn 1. And that's one of Ed Spencer's cars going for a little bit of off-roading. He's back on the track now. Earlier on in the season, it was Nelson Piquet and Adrian Fernandez. Now it's Luca Padoa and Arie Luyendyk in the cars. Hasn't been the best of start for the team. The best of starts for the team here at Suzuka. We'll see Mansell and Schumacher nose to tail. Mansell is on the brink of his first World Championship. Schumacher, who is destined for a bright future in this series as they come through. 130R almost together. Berger is still stuck behind Alboreto for position. And further back we see the Ligier of Eddie Irvine. And then we see Thierry Boussin locking up on the exit of the Casio Triangle chicane. So it's Williams leading Ferrari, leading Williams. Now the drivers who have got a mathematical chance still of going for the championship but are most realistically out of it. Well, the only driver that is in that particular conversation is Michele Alboreto, and off goes the Ligier. That has to be, I think that's Riccardo Patrese who's gone off the racetrack. No, it's not. It's Mika Salo, my apologies. Riccardo Patrese who raced in that car earlier in the season, but it's Mika Salo who's off the racetrack. And he's gone back on the circuit now, but he's down the order. Nigel Mansell in second place ahead of Schumacher. Senna who's continuing to stretch out the margin. 3.5 seconds on lap number 4 out of 53. Alboreto has got Berger for company as Modena locks up over at Spoon. Now, did Berger get through on Alboreto at 130R? I don't think he did. And one driver's gone down the order is Heinzel Frentzen, has been passed by Rubens Barrichello, and Frentzen is continuing to drop down the order as something happened to both him and Barrichello, because Irvine is in front of the pair of them. I find it strange that Irvine's in front of both Barrichello and Frentzen at the same time. Something must have happened involving both of the Tyrrells, and Irvine is through, and we see Derek Warwick go past what looks like the Brabham of Mika Hakkinen. Warwick in the Lotus is passed and into the top 10. We see Schumacher stop behind Mansell, and Andy Wallace goes off in the Jordan. The man who won the pre-qualifying race earlier has spun into the gravel trap. Can he get back on the circuit? So having to wait for a car to go by. And Paul Warwick is out. So it's not Derek Warwick, my apologies. It's Paul Warwick in the Lotus that has pulled off. And Paul Warwick, who is essentially in Derek Warwick's car earlier in the season. But it's Paul Warwick who's out of the race on that occasion. And so Mika Salo is running in 24th position in the Ligier. Paul Warwick becoming the first retirement of the race. As far as the Constructors' Championship is concerned, Lotus were in a battle with Ligier for 5th place in the Constructors' Championship, along with Tyrrell, who are 4th. So there's a battle between Tyrrell, Ligier and Lotus for that respective position. Martin Brundle, who is running in 12th place in the Benetton. He's got Stefano Modena for company, and ahead of those two is the other Lola of Gianni Morbidelli, who's chasing after the Brabham of Mika Hakkinen. So second, Schumacher third, and it's Busen, Alboreto, Berger, Irvine, Barrichello, Frentzen and Hakkinen. Further back we are seeing a 5-car battle for 19th position. There is Iri Leyendyke in there. We've also got Tommy Byrne, we've got Otto Renson, and we've also got Mika Salo. Berger still no way through on Alboreto yet. It's important he gets through. Ahead of Alboreto is Thierry Boutsen in 4th place. As it stands, the championship will go down to the wire in both Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. And Iri Leyendyke is going through on the Sachs Speed. And there we see Alessandro Nannini, who was one of those that pitted in earlier. think he pitted at the end of lap 1, is down at the back, and that's not good news for McLaren's hopes of retaining their Constructors' crown. Alboreto is in 5th, ahead of Berger still. And Tommy Byrne is having to come into the pits. That explains why the pack was so bunched up behind him. We've got Jonathan Palmer in the arrows there, who's substituting for Luke Madewa. He's in for the last couple of rounds of the season, I presume. And we'll see Mansell coming down the last corner. He's still ahead of Schumacher. He's also in the title fight. And Jochen Finkelhock, who's got Otto Renson for company. Ball with Ayrton Senna in the Williams Porsche, up the hill through Dunlop. Modena off the circuit in the Lola. He hits the barrier. He's going to lose a heap of time. Where does he rejoin? He's outside the top 15, is Modena. But at least he didn't lose as much time as Andy Wallace did when he spun into the gravel in the Jordan. Senna, Mansell, Schumacher, Boutsen, Alboreto and Berger. Alboreto under attack from Berger again. Will we see a change for position here? Not that time around. Berger having to get back into the slipstream of the Lotus. The McLaren isn't exactly the fastest in a straight line, so it's going to come down to pit strategy to see Berger get in front of both Alboreto and possibly Boutsen. Ari Lyondike behind the sack speed of Jochen Finkelhock. It's easy picking there for Lyondike to head through. Solo also getting through. And has Finkelhock got an issue? Because it looked a bit too easy for both the Arrows and the Ligier to get past. Senna on lap number 9, continuing to lead. And Alboreto locks up in front of Berger, frustrating the Austrian even more. Seconds is the margin between Senna and Mansell. Berger in the slipstream of Alboreto again. Tommy Byrne back in the pits again in the sack speed. He'll be down a lap now on the leaders. And Berger's off the circuit in the McLaren. Front wing damaged. At least hasn't got far to go before entering the pit lane, but that will lose him time for sure. See more fuel being added? The answer to that question is no. This is going to hurt Gerhard Berger's race, that's for certain. He'll drop down to P12 behind Martin Brundle. Berger rejoins behind Alesi, and around goes Barrichello at the S's. As the car spun back round. There's traffic coming through very, very shortly. He's in. Oh! Problem for Schumacher in the Ferrari! Gearbox failure on lap 10. Michael Schumacher is out of the race. A dent to Ferrari's hopes of clinching the Constructors' Championship. It's most likely going to go down to the wire in Adelaide. Michael Schumacher is out of the Japanese Grand Prix. Up to third place goes Thierry Boutsen in the Williams. It's great news for McLaren. And more problems for Ferrari. Mansell's got a puncher. What is going on? Team manager Chris Cavani will have his head in his hands. Both of the Ferraris out after 10 laps. Nigel Mansell will not be crowned world champion here at Suzuka. The championship has been blown wide open. Mansell, who won here last season, won't be finishing this one. It's now a Williams 1 and 2. With both McLarens out of the points as well, it's the dream scenario for team manager Dave Goddard. As it stands in the Drivers' Championship, Ayrton Senna will be taking the lead. Mansell will be second, and Nannini will be in third place. Schumacher and Berger will be out of the running. In the Constructors' Championship, Williams are looking good for first and second place right now, as Berger continues to have problems in the McLaren as he's trying to get through on Sean Alesi. With McLaren not on course for points right now, Williams are on course for the full maximum, which would give them 29 championship points in total. They will move into the lead with one race to go. Ferrari won't be scoring. He already had 3 double non-finishes before this one, and this is their 4th. Thierry Boutsen in second place. As we see, Gerhard Berger still stopped behind Sean Alesi. This is hurting Berger's race even more. Now we see Eddie Irvine running wide on the grass and the curb, which won't help him. So in P3 in the Lotus, his teammate Paul Warwick is already out of the race, and there goes Stefano Modena on Paul McCarthy, and Berger's off again, and he's come right back into the path of what looked like Mark Blundell, who had to take evasive action. Oh, that was so close. That was very, very close to being a nasty accident. And that would have put Berger completely out of contention for the championship as well. And Tommy Byrne being lapped here by... Is that Thierry Bousson that's just going through on him? I think it is. No, it's the Ligier of Eddie Irvine. You see Perry McCarthy in the AGS. One of the cars that got through from pre-qualifying. 3 drivers out of the race so far. We've lost the 2 Ferraris of Nigel Mansell and Michael Schumacher. We've also lost the Lotus of Paul Warwick. Everyone else is still going. Modena locks up in the Lola at the hairpin. Teammate Gianni Morbidelli is running in a fine P7. And it's race over for Jonathan Palmer in the Arrows. His first race back, it's game over for the Brit. Senna's lead is 14 seconds. It's Thierry Bousson. He's continuing to drop back when he got stuck behind Tommy Byrne. Oh, sorry, not Tommy Byrne. Well, I think Bouston's probably been stuck behind back markers at some point. But it's inevitable the leaders are going to be lapping drivers considering the horsepower deficit on the Williams compared to most of their counterparts. And also the pure brilliance of the 1988 World Champion at Senna. Gerhard Berger pitting in for the 2nd time in this race. You see Gianni Morbidelli in the Lola. Behind Morbidelli is Martin Brundle. It's Rubens Barrichello in the Tyrrell and Manuel Reuter. Continuing on in the Brabham. Alan Prost was in that car early in the season until he left after the British Grand Prix, I believe. It was the German Grand Prix that we saw the exit of Alan Prost. There we see Modena going for it on Mark Blundell. He's through with ease. See Thierry Bousson putting a lap on the Jordan of Andy Wallace. It's vitally important that Ayrton Senna wins this race. And there goes Berger. That's on the suck speed. I think that might be Joachim Finkelhoff. Coming out of the last corner. Senna, who has won 3 times this season. He won the Canadian Grand Prix, he won the Mexican Grand Prix, and he also won the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring last time out, going for win number 4 in 1991. John Lacey overtakes Manuel Reuter, who's picked up a problem. There's no way on earth that Lacey's got through on him that easy. Modena gets past Reuter. And yeah, Reuter's slowing. He's got a problem as the Brabham has been hampered with problems all the way through the campaign. Just not the team that they once were in 1990. And there goes Reuter. Parts up on the back straight, and it's race over. That's the 5th driver to retire, along with Jonathan Palmer, Nigel Mansell, Michael Schumacher and Paul Warwick. "21 drivers still left in the race. Senna continuing to scamper off into the distance. Senna completes his 16th lap. We're nearly a third of the way through this. This Japanese Grand Prix circuit of Suzuka that's been around since 1962, and it first hosted Formula 1 in 1987. Martin Brundle, who's running in 8th place, no longer in 8th position because Rubens Barrichello has overtaken him. Behind Brundle will be Sean Lacey, but Lacey's another 20 seconds back. Thierry Bousson running in P2, Gerhard Berger, who is stuck behind the Jordan of what looks like Otto Rensen. This should be relatively straightforward for Gerhard Berger. He does go past the Jordan with ease, and Eddie Irvine comes onto the other Jordan of Andy Wallace. Rensen locking up on the curb. He was lucky not to go off there. Alboreto in P3 in the Lotus. On the back straight before the left-hander, 130R. Mick Hakkinen running in 6th place out of Gianni Morbidelli. It's Barrichello, Brundle and Lacey in the AGS. Now AGS, who have been in the Grand Prix multiple occasions this season, they got into it 3 times. Picks up a point at the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa. They're aiming to get another point out of this season. If they do that, they'll move in front of Cologne into 15th in the Constructors' Championship. Modena going through on the Lacey, so that's the Lacey out of the points now. Alboreto, who has still got a slim chance of the championship. With Schumacher and Mansell both out, what he needs to stay in the hunt for the title is a win. Only a win will keep Alboreto in the race for the title alive. We have a pit stop over at Williams, and Senna comes in. Thierry Boutsen will take over as Tommy Byrne continues to lock up in the sack speed. Senna comes out behind the Lotus of Michele Alboreto. Don't know what strategy Alboreto is on, but it looks like Senna is going to be doing the 2-stop strategy, which would be a viable one for him here. Nannini behind Mika Salo for 15th place. Gerhard Berger has already pitted twice in this race. Nannini came in at the end of lap 1. There goes Nannini. Does he get through on solo this time? No, he doesn't, but he runs wide onto the grass. Front wing broken on the McLaren. And that's him off into the pit lane. What a miserable race this is turning out to be for McLaren here. It's the dream scenario for Williams. When will Boutsen decide to put in here? So ahead of Senna, you can see Eddie Irvine as well. Gianni Morbidelli going through the spoon curve. So yeah, 1.5 seconds clear of the Tyrrell of Rubens Barrichello. Irvine pits in the Ligier. That will allow Frentzen to go through into 4th place. Boutsen, who has got Nannini in front of him. Too long before Boutsen pits in, I think. Nannini will have to adhere to the blue flags. Through the hairpin they come. Nannini will have to move out of the way for Boutsen to come past. Senna, who is now behind Alboreto. You see Aria Leondike go through 130R, running in 16th position as the sole surviving arrows. Barrichello looking up at the hairpin behind Gianni Morbidelli. And we've got a pit stop over at the Williams crew. Thierry Boutsen comes in, but he's not in, he's out. Thierry Boutsen has stopped, and it's race over for the Belgian. Alboreto comes into the pits, but Boutsen has stopped on circuit. Thierry Boutsen is out of the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's a bad dent to Williams' hopes in the Constructors' Championship. All hopes rest on Ayrton Senna. Now, if he comes away with the maximum that he can get, that will move Williams up to 2nd place ahead of McLaren and closer within 5 points of Ferrari. Modena comes in the Lola. Otto Renson locks up. So it's Senna who takes back the lead of the race. Alboreto drops to 6th place behind Rubens Barrichello. Mansell Frentzen in P2. He was yet to stop in this. May decide to go for the 1 stop if he can help it. Same for Mick Hakkinen, John Morbidelli and Rubens Barrichello. And then we see Frentzen. We see Hakkinen, flying Finn. And Modena under attack from Gerhard Berger. Finkelhock, who's been overtaken here by Nannini almost. No way through for the Italian. It's unlikely he's going to be coming away with any points. Senna is about to come up to lap him again. Barrichello on the rear of Gianni Morbidelli, and Alboretto's out. Michele Alboretto out in the Lotus, and it's the day's work's done for Ryan Ferris's team. Day's work done for the team, I should say. But Alboretto's slim chances of the championship are over for this season. We could be in for an unpredictable result here. Both Ferraris out, Boutsen out, Alboretto out. Berger and Nannini are both out of the points. The only big gun still going is Senna, and he's the one that's leading. Barrichello, who is just going through the pit straight. I think he was lapping someone. Lock up from Ari Lyondike at the hairpin. It's Gianni Morbidelli, who is continuing to have a really good race in the Lola. Nigel Mansell in second place. Frenson came into this round 7th in the standings. His best result has been second in Estoril. He hasn't picked up a win this season, and neither have the Tyrrell team so far this campaign. Well, the highest team in the Constructors' Championship yet to pick up a win. Brundle, under attack from Eddie Irvine. Brundle's yet to stop in this race. Looking at Lola, in regards to their season, 50 championship points on the board. It's unlikely that they will catch Brabham. And got enough for the Jordan of Otto Rensin. It looks like he's done exactly the same things what his teammate Andy Wallace did earlier on in the event. He's now behind Wallace. And it's race over for Otto Rensin. Beats in the gravel and gone. Oh, and Salo runs wide at 130R. And he came close to taking out another driver. He was tussling with Perry McCarthy. Touched the wall, just missing the AGS. He was lucky to keep going. Johnson over the barrier and out. And that promotes Alessandro Nannini up into 15th position. Little consolation for the McLaren team. What's been a woeful Japanese Grand Prix for them. Both AGSs are now inside the points, Alesi and McCarthy. Alesi in 8th and McCarthy in 10th, which will give them 4 championship points. And Barrichello is still stuck behind Gianni Morbidelli, 4th position. Salo, P11 in English shape. Tommy Byrne in 18th and last place. 8 drivers out. Otto Rensin, Michele Alboretto, Thierry Boutsen, Manuel Reuter, Jonathan Palmer, Nigel Mansell, Michael Schumacher, and Paul Warwick. And Finkelhock pulls off the circuit. And that's one of the sack speeds gone from this race. The engine is switched off, and it's game over for him. Hakkinen running in third place. Brabham picking up one victory this season. Alan Prost picking up that win in Monaco. Hakkinen, the reigning champion, is yet to taste victory this campaign. Mansell Frentzen second in the Tyrrell. Not a bad sight for Sam Hall's team in second and fourth. Barrichello is through on Morbidelli at last. It is Senna who's continuing to lead out in front. About halfway through as Hakkinen comes in for what should be his only stop of the race. Barrichello is in at the same time. Morbidelli will go through up into third place. He carries on for another lap. We've also got a pit stop at Benetton because Martin Brundle has come in. Right on board with Mark Blundell. He's just been overtaken by Shauna Lacey. They've been in their own battle, those two. Harry McCarthy entering the pit lane in the AGS. As Senna comes up to lap his championship rival, Alessandro Nannini. Hakkinen, who was running in fifth place after his stop, is now behind Eddie Irvine. He expects to pit again before this race is over. Morbidelli is still yet to stop in this, as is Heinz-Hauer Frentzen. Martin Brundle, lap on the sack speed of Tommy Byrne. We've seen Gianni Morbidelli in P3. Going through the S's, Lacey putting a lap on Tommy Byrne as he goes through the Casio Triangle chicane. Don't think it'll be too long before Mark Blundell heads through. Morbidelli continuing to stay out in the Lola. Blundell does put a lap on the sack speed at last. Solo puts in from 10th place, which will allow Gerhard Berger to move up another position. Gerhard Berger is still in the championship fight. 11 points off Nigel Mansell. But look, with the fact that Senna is on his way to victory, Berger will be out of championship contention if he does not score here. He has yet to taste victory this season. Martin Brundle locking up. Lap 28 into the second half of the race we are now. Morbidelli does put in for Lola. He'll drop back behind Eddie Irvine and most probably Mika Hakkinen and Rubens Barrichello. Frentzen nearly putting a wheel on the grass. Then goes through. Barrichello will go through. And Morbidelli will rejoin in P6. Irvine third in the Ligier. It's Hakkinen, Barrichello, Morbidelli, Brundle, Blundell, Lacey and Modena. Blundell comes in, as does Alesi, which will allow Stefano Modena to move up a couple more places. Berger now up into the points. And we should see Ari Leyendijk go into the points now himself. Senna in P1. As Alesi exits the pits a lap down. But there's a chance that AGS will come away with some points here. Frentzen pits in from second. He will only lose one place, Eddie Irvine. And Irvine is on the two-stop strategy as Senna is held up behind Perry McCarthy to lap, which won't please the Brazilian too much. He never likes it when he's in this situation, does Ayrton? Irvine second, as Frentzen leaves the pits in third place, well ahead of Mika Hakkinen. Senna continues to lead. As it stands, he'll take the lead of the championship going into the final round of the season in Australia. Eddie Irvine is second. It's Heinzel Frentzen in third. Mika Hakkinen fourth. Rubens Barrichello fifth. Gianni Morbidelli is sixth. It's Martin Brundle in the Benetton in seventh. Stefano Modena eighth. Gerhard Berger ninth and Ari Leyendijk in the Arrows in 10th place. Barrichello pushing as hard as he can, chasing after Hakkinen. And it looks like Perry McCarthy has unlapped Ayrton Senna here, as has John Alesi and Alessandro Nannini. What has happened to Ayrton Senna? He's off! Senna's off at turn 1! Lucky to get out of there, Ayrton Senna. I don't know how on earth he's managed to do that, but he has had an off at turn 1. Huge wake-up call there for the Williams pilot. Irvine in second in the Ligier. Could be a contender for victory in case anything does happen to Senna later on. Now, Senna had a 33-second lead. He's now down to 15 seconds. There we look at Eddie Irvine. A man who has impressed this season for Ligier. He's already won the Belgian Grand Prix. Going for another podium here. And we'll look at Martin Brundle in the Benetton. I'm just waiting for the timing post to update itself. The gaps you can see between Brundle and Modena is not correct. So we'll wait for the timing page to update, and then we know what the real gaps are. Not too far away from the second round of pit stops involving the two stoppers. Eddie Irvine is one of them. The likes of Frentzen, Hakkinen, Barrichello are Morbidelli are expected to go to the end. So it looks like Eddie Irvine is going to have to do some overtaking after his final stop is done. Andy Wallace is in for Jordan. HSs between Perry McCarthy and Sean Lacey, and it looks like a Lacey's going to go through here. His teammate, or so he thought, had to back out of it. Gerhard Berger's closing on Stefano Modena for 8th position. With Berger back in the points, he's now still in mathematical contention for the title, as Modena gets held up behind the sack speed of Stefano Modena. It feels to me like the best Berger can hope for is 8th, subject to any more drivers dropping out. And Modena does get by the sack speed at last, but he did lose time. Through the spoon curve, downhill. Go back to the Brazilian, and out goes Alessandro Nannini. It's been a miserable race for him, been at the back since the beginning, and it's further compounded by a major engine failure. Now he is still in the hunt for the title as it stands, but if Senna wins this race, it will be increasingly slim for him to come away with the championship this time around. But if Senna drops out of this, then he's still very much in contention to be crowned champion this season. Schumacher out, Nannini out, Mansell out. Berger not scoring big at the moment. And Senna is the only big gun that's going to be coming away with major points here. Irvine in 2nd place. Senna comes through the Casio Triangle chicane again. And we just see Paul Warwick's car being pushed away further, but that's because of Nannini parking up there next to it. Come away from that, we're looking at Gerhard Berger, who's still chasing after Stefano Modena. Is now held up behind Andy Wallace's Jordan. And the spoon curve they come. Modena goes through at last. It won't be too long before Berger goes through. Last corner they come. Gerhard Berger, who's yet to win a race this season. Alessandro Nannini won in Germany, and he also won in Italy at Monza. Now, with the way things are going in this one, with Frentzen only doing the one stop, Senna is expected to pit again. Frentzen could get in front of Senna after the Brazilian pits in. And we've got a race in our hands to see who will win the Japanese Grand Prix here. Berger laps Andy Wallace. There's a yellow flag out. I don't know if that's because of the stricken Lotus and McLaren that are there, of Paul Warwick and Alessandro Nannini. Hope that's not going to be an issue for the foreseeable future. John Lacey's in the pits for AGS. Paul White's car is still being pushed away. You see Mark Blundell and Mick Salo. McCarthy 13th place as Senna. He's close to lapping him again. Out of the race goes Eddie Irvine. Irvine out. Eddie Irvine out of the race in the Ligier. And that allows Mika Hakkinen to go through into 3rd place. We didn't see where Irvine pulled off, but it's race over for the Ulsterman. He's parked up at the S's. It's game over. And there he is, look. Eddie Irvine out of the Japanese Grand Prix after running so well. He could have been coming away with the victory if anything happened to Senna up front. It's not going to be a race victory here for him. There's another one gone from this race. That also means Barrichello, Morbidelli, Brundle, Modena, Berger, Lyondike and Mark Blundell are positions in the points. Senna 24 seconds ahead in the lead. I would say at the rate he's going, he stays out for another lap. He could have a big enough gap for when he rejoins after his final stop. There we see Barrichello Hakkinen go toe to toe. In P3, ahead of Barrichello. Right behind these two. Now Barrichello thinking of going for it on the Brabham, not the inside goes Rubens Barrichello, and that's 3rd position going in the way of the Tyrrell. 2 Tyrrells in the top 3. Nice overtake from Barrichello. That puts 2 Brazilians on the podium. And Hakkinen is almost about to be overtaken by the Lola of Gianni Morbidelli. So it's not turning out to be a good race at the moment for Mika Hakkinen, as those he would like. Behind the AGS of Perry McCarthy. It won't be too long before he pits in though. Drivers left in the race. Tommy Byrne still going, Andy Wallace still going, and 2 AGS cars of Perry McCarthy and Sean Lacey still going. Laps to go here in Suzuka. As it stands out, and Senna will move into the lead of the championship with Nigel Mansell not scoring, Michael Schumacher not scoring, Alessandro Nannini not scoring, Gerhard Berger not scoring major points. So Tommy Byrne gets lapped by Ari Lyondike. First time Saxby have got into a Grand Prix this season. As Morbidelli goes through on Mika Hakkinen at turn 1, or so he thought. Couldn't get the job done there. Gerhard Berger is not far behind Stefano Modena. If Berger can get through, he'll obviously improve his points tally. Into this round with 84 points, 4 championship points, or 3 championship points would move him in front of Michael Schumacher. 1 point off his teammate Alessandro Nannini. gets a championship point, another championship point, it'll go level with Nannini, but Nannini will still be ahead on countback. Berger's got to hope for more misfortunes, especially from someone like Ayrton Senna, his former teammate. There's the Tyrrell. Rubens Barrichello, 43 seconds off the lead. Who knows how this race is going to end? Nigel Mansell's won 2 races this season. Nannini has won 2 races. Senna has won 3 races. Schumacher's won 2. Berger hasn't won any. Alboreto has won 2. Thierry Boutsen's won 2, Eddie Irvine and Alain Prost are the other drivers who have won. Looks like Gerhard Berger is now on a second off Stefano Modena as he chases after him. There he is, look. Berger's rise is helping McLaren a little bit to close in on Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. He was 7 points behind coming into this round, but with Berger finishing in 8th, that will give them 3 championship points. They'll move on to 175 and be within 4 points of Ferrari. But when you look at Williams with the way their race is going, opposition fast up in the race win. 17 points going the way of Williams. We move on to 174, so we've got 3 teams going for the Constructors' Championship, 5 points off each other. Just going to make for a tasty Constructors' encounter, as well as potentially a Drivers' encounter. And Hakkinen, with a loose wheel from 4th place, Morbidelli goes through. It's another horrible day for Ewan Gale's team. The season can't end soon enough for them. And that will help Gerhard Berger massively. Might even get through on Modena on the pit straight. But it's race over for the reigning champion of Mika Hakkinen. He will not be retaining his title. Blundell goes up to 5th, Modena 6th, Berger 7th. It's Lyondike, Blundell and Sarlo all inside the points. Down to 14 runners here. More than what we had at this track last season. Now, the Japanese Grand Prix, we had a total of 8 classified finishers. Here's Sarlo tussling with Blundell for position. Barrichello puts a lap on the AGS of Sean Lacey, who was formerly a Tyrrell driver for Sam Hall's team. Senna has a 25-second cushion over Frentzen as Barrichello continues to lock up at the S's. Seeing a pit stop over Williams because Senna did pit in quite early in the race. We should expect a second pit stop from him, and it should put him back out ahead of Frentzen, who can go to the end. About 40 out of 53, just 14 laps remaining. Senna continuing to lead. What will be going through the mind of the boss of Williams? And just to correct myself on the arrows, team boss, that's Ben Hackerson. Ed Spencer did used to be the manager of the squad, but now it's Ben Hackerson these days. Topher Smith is the man in charge of Williams, as well as Jordan. And Modena is still holding up Berger through the Casio Triangle chicane. Berger, as it stands, is now level on points with Nannini. Barrichello. So I'm looking at the 1990 team managers, not the 91. So the team manager of Williams is Scott Woodwis. Topher Smith was in charge of it. And I will say that Ed Spencer is the team manager of Arrows. So to correct myself again. Berger still stuck behind Modena for 6th place. He want to get every point he can get. He does not want to sit behind Modena for too long. We are expecting another pit stop for Gerhard Berger before this race is over. Berger still no way through past Modena. He might just do it down this back straight. He's into the slipstream of the Lola. Will we see an overtake from Gerhard Berger? To the inside, will Senna's coming up to lap the exact speed of Tommy Byrne. Berger did not get through on Modena at 130R. Barrichello a long way behind his teammate in 3rd place, and he's 6 seconds clear over 4th place Gianni Morbidelli. At the moment it's looking like a good haul of points for the Lola team. Ari Lyondike comes in for the Arrows squad. He'll drop behind Mark Blundell and Mika Salo. And Senna 12 laps away. His 4th win of the season. The S's. And the mechanical failure is going to stop Senna from taking victory. He did have that off earlier, which did cause some form of fright for team manager Scott Woodwis. Berger was not able to move in front of Stefano Modena that time around. It's unlikely he'll do so here before 130R. Don't think he's going to go for it here, is Berger, but he's thinking about it. He still cannot find a way through. He'll cut away to Andy Wallace, who's looking good enough to just finish at least. Berger still not able to get by Modena for the time being. Solo has just been lapped by Senna. We've seen it before where Senna has dropped out in the closing stages of races. We saw it happen at Imola as Senna does come in for his final stop. Should remain in front of Frentzen. Senna also retired in Estoril in the closing laps. Berger retired in the closing laps, not whilst he was leading, but it was a major point in the race where he needed those to keep his realistic hopes of the title still intact, as Senna rejoins in front of Frentzen, who remains in second place. And it's looking like Senna is going to come away with his 4th win of the campaign. Frentzen still chasing Tyrrell's first win this season of 1991. Barrichello, who has been on the podium twice this season, 2 second place finishes, the first one coming in at Spa and the other in Spain. We've got 2 more pit stops going on at Lola and McLaren. Modena and Berger are in, both of which should rejoin ahead of Mark Blundell and Mika Salo. Looks like Berger has got the jump on Modena in the stops, and that's really crucial for McLaren. But Berger's now behind Salo and Blundell. Senna getting a lap on the AGS of Perry McCarthy. If Senna makes a mistake at turn 1, or if he makes a mistake anywhere, Frentzen will be there to snatch it away from him. Laps remaining here at Suzuka. Blundell locks up at the hairpin whilst running in 6th place. One way clear over Blundell, who's in a fight of his own with Salo, Berger and Modena. So Berger is on course for 3 championship points. He'll want to get a couple more. If he does that, he'll move in front of Nannini in the championship standings, as Modena goes through to lap the Jordan of Andy Wallace. He attempts to get by Berger, but he spins at 130R. And he actually does a 1080. There's the Lola pilot. He's very lucky to continue without any form of damage. And Berger is going for it on Salo. Doesn't quite get through at turn 1. So he'll have to bide his time and wait for another opportunity. And a new fast stop of the race for Ayrton Senna on the fresh rubber. Over 6 seconds clear of Heinz Frentzen. And Berger, who's attacking Mika Salo for position. No way through at the moment. And Ari Leyendijk is on the tail of Stefano Modena. Berger is now on the rear wing of Salo. Does he get through at 130R? We'll find out in a moment. He needs to get by the Ligier ASAP. I'll tell you, he has not got through on him. I'll have to wait back a little bit more. He only just came in, did Berger, so I would say he's got a good chance of getting by Salo and possibly Blundell. And off goes Lyndike in the arrows. Really poor error by his standards. Now, does he get out of the gravel trap or is it curtains? Well, Perry McCarthy is still a bit behind him. I think he's going through actually, as McCarthy is through. So Perry McCarthy up into 10th place for AGS. It looks like they are going to pick up what will be their second point of the season, but it's no points for Arrows or for Ari Lyondike. Game over. Whilst that was going on, Senna posted another new fastest up of the race. And there we go back to Gerhard Berger. Has he done enough to get through on Salo here, heading into 130R? Not quite. But he's off the circuit, is Berger. And that will hand the position over to Stefano Modena, who gets through. A poor error by Gerhard Berger again. Onto the pit straight he comes. Can he go back through on Stefano Modena into turn 1? I don't think he will do. 12 seconds is the gap between Senna and Frentzen, continuing to increase. If AGS getting that point, they'll move in front of Coloni in the Constructors' Championship. Another point would move them level with Jordan. And it's Senna, strong as ever, with 7 laps to go. As he puts a lap on the Jordan of Andy Wallace. Wallace stays out of the way of the Brazilian, who heads through. Senna locks up. Does Berger get by Modena on the back straight into 130R? Senna isn't far behind to lap his former teammate Rubens Barrichello, looking good for a podium. 10 seconds clear over 4th place Gianni Morbidelli, and we've got 2 Benettons in 5th and 6th. He'll be the team's biggest haul of points all season. We're in a battle with Lola for 8th place in the Constructors. Berger is still struggling to find a way through on Stefano Modena, and he's running out of time. Senna on course to take the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Berger will remain in contention. But Schumacher, Alboreto falling out of contention for the championship. Almost certainly Alessandro Nannini, unless something happens to Senna in the closing laps as Modena goes through on Salo for P7. Can Berger follow through and do the same? Well, he's going for it on the Ligier, and Berger is back into 8th place. So coming up to the lap. Nicasalo. Not his record this season for Ligier. Has had a 4th place finish in the Spanish Grand Prix. So a 12th place finish last time out at the Nürburgring. Go for another couple of points as we see Berger going at it again with Stefano Modena, who is coming up behind Mark Blundell. Can Berger get through on Modena? And here we see Berger going for it again. This has to be clean from the Austrian this time. Don't think he's alongside enough, is he? No, he cuts back inside. And he allows Modena to chase after Blundell. Frentzen on his own in 2nd place, and there's a blow up ahead of the Tyrrell. And it's not from Ayrton Senna. It will be from one of the back markers. I think it must be. Oh, don't tell me it's Perry McCarthy. It's Andy Wallace in the Jordan. And that's the 2nd of Topher Smith's cars out. Andy Wallace was running in 12th before retiring. And that will promote Tommy Byrne up into P12 in the Zach Speed. And Zach Speed are going to be finishing their 1st Grand Prix of the season. Modena got by Blundell for your information. He's up into P6, is the Italian. Both Lola's on course for both cars in the top 6. Heinz Frentzen in P2. The German looking to add to his points total this season. He already finished 2nd in the Portuguese Grand Prix. He's failed to finish in the last 2 though. Senna puts a lap on Mark Blundell, who will be under attack from Gerhard Berger. This could be Berger's opportunity to go through this time, if he can help it. He's not able to go through. Frentzen. Good, and Tyrrell looking good to get both cars on the podium. As Blundell gets overtaken by Gerhard Berger. Berger's through to P7. An important move there for the Austrian, who now goes level on points with his teammate Alessandro Nannini, heading into Australia. If Berger can get one more place off Stefano Modena, go in front of Nannini. But he's only got 3 laps to do it. Senna is coming up to lap Stefano Modena. It's also crucial points for McLaren in their pursuit of Ferrari and the battle with Williams. Senna puts a lap on Modena. Berger will be closing in all the time. Modena may get the benefit of the slipstream of the Williams. Look at Rubens Barrichello again, continuing to increase the gap between himself and Gianni Morbidelli. Martin Brundle, the last driver on the lead lap, in 5th. Down the hill he comes. Frentzen 18 seconds off the lead in P2. Tyrrell can get his cars home in 2nd and 3rd, which give him 22 championship points. They would remain in 4th place ahead of Ligier, but mathematically they won't be catching Williams, McLaren or Ferrari, so it looks like 4th place in the Constructors is virtually secure for Sam Hall's team. And Senna has started the penultimate lap ahead of Frentzen and Barrichello. Now remember, Barrichello had that spin over at the S's as Mark Blundell locks up at the hairpin. We'll see Gerhard Berger because he's closing in on Stefano Modena. Barrichello, 3rd place. What result it'll be for him, for the supporters of his in Brazil. With Lola getting 4th and 6th at the moment, which would give them 13 championship points, taking the team's total for the campaign to 63. They'll just be 4 points off Brabham as Berger goes for it on Modena. As Ayrton Senna has started the final lap of the race. As Barrichello puts a lap on Tommy Byrne, who's on course for a 12th place finish, which is some drive from the Brit. Looks like Perry McCarthy is on course to get AGS's 2nd point of the season. We'll go back to Ayrton Senna, who's about to claim his 4th win of the season. There he is, look. What a performance it has been. No problems from start to finish. It was a question whether the Williams reliability was going to remain intact here. It didn't do so for his teammate Thierry Boutsen. But what a result, and a major one in the race to be crowned the 1991 World Champion in the Grand Prix World Championship. Ayrton Senna has just got 4 more corners to get through, and victory will be his. As Berger looks to go for it on Stefano Modena, this is his last chance. Can he take 6th position away from the Lola? He won't do it at 130 RB, might do it into the final chicane. Ayrton Senna enters the Casio Triangle chicane for the last time, and through the right-hander, Ayrton Senna powers down the pit straight. He wins the 1991 Japanese Grand Prix. He is into the lead of the championship with 1 round to go in Australia. Williams closing on McLaren and Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. Gerhard Berger, the only other championship contender to have scored points today. He moves level with his teammate Alessandro Nannini. Heinz-Al Frentzen 2nd for Tyrrell, with his teammate Rubens Barrichello in 3rd place. And in 4th position will be Gianni Morbidelli, who equals Lola's best result of the season. Lola finished 4th on 2 previous occasions before today. I picked up a 3rd one here. Martin Brundle in 5th, Stefano Modena 6th, Gerhard Berger 7th. It's Mark Blundell, Mika Salo, and a championship point for Perry McCarthy and for AGS. And it's Sean Lacey and Tommy Byrne who gets Sack Speed's 1st finish of the season. What a drive from him. It's victory for Ayrton Senna here at Suzuka. A brilliant performance and a masterclass from him. A rundown on the race finish then. Ayrton Senna wins with Heinz-Al Frentzen in 2nd place. Rubens Barrichello is 3rd. 2 Tyrrells on the podium with Gianni Morbidelli in 4th. Martin Brundle is 5th. Stefano Modena lap down in 6th place. Gerhard Berger 7th. Mark Blundell 8th. Mika Salo 9th. And Perry McCarthy taking the final point for AGS in 10th position. Sean Lacey 11th. And Tommy Byrne, the last driver to finish, in 12th place in the Sack Speed. Andy Willis, the last of those to not finish, along with Ari Lyondike, Mick Hakkinen, also Eddie Irvine, who was running in the podium positions before retiring, Alessandro Nannini, Joachim Winkelhock, Otto Rensen, Michele Alboreto, Thierry Boutsen, Manuel Reuter, Jonathan Palmer, and we lost 2 major championship contenders in Nigel Mansell and Michael Schumacher. The last driver that also did not finish was Paul Warwick in the Lotus. Ayrton Senna, as I've already mentioned, He's into the championship lead with 1 round to go in Australia. Nigel Mansell has been hit a major blow. The same for Michael Schumacher, who is now mathematically out of championship contention, as is Michele Alboreto. It will be either Ayrton Senna, Nigel Mansell, Alessandro Nannini or Gerhard Berger being crowned champion. Although, working out Berger's points total, he's on 88 points. Senna moves on to 103. So Berger is still mathematically in the championship fight, as is Nannini, but McLaren need an almighty miracle to see either of their drivers being crowned champion. Mansell the closest one to Senna. So realistically, it is Senna's to lose in Australia. If he wins the race, he'll be crowned champion for a second time. In the Constructors' Championship, it's a three-way battle. Ferrari not scoring, Williams scoring massively. They are 5 points off Ferrari, with McLaren getting only 4 championship points today. They're just 3 points off the team from Maranello. Just 5 points the gap between the top 3 in the Constructors' Championship. Looking very, very tasty for a last race showdown in Adelaide. It's time to run down on the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships in the 1991 Grand Prix World Championship. And we'll see you for the last round of the season in Adelaide. It's hotting up. Down to the wire we go, down under.
How important could that win be for Ayrton Senna? He takes the championship lead with 1 round to go in 1991. And with some of the big hitters having difficult races as well, a double retirement for the Ferrari duo of Mansell and Schumacher, it means Senna has grabbed the advantage at the top of the standings. But what has this done to those standings as we now look towards the last race of the season at Adelaide in Australia? As I've already mentioned, Ayrton Senna moves into the lead of the championship on 103, now ahead of Nigel Mansell, who is on 95. Alessandro Nannini on 88 and Gerhard Berger also on 88. Those 4 are the only ones still who can win the championship. Michael Schumacher and Michele Alboreto have both been eliminated from contention. And looking at the teams, at the beginning of today, it was Ferrari, McLaren and Williams. And at the end of today, it is still Ferrari, McLaren and Williams who can win the team's championship. 179 for Ferrari, 176 for McLaren and 174 for Williams. Only 5 points separates those top 3 as we come down to the last race of the season. It is all to play for in both the drivers and the team's championships. But until then, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company, and we cannot wait to bring you the season finale for 1991 from Adelaide in Australia. Until then, I'm Topher Smith. Take care.